you ever heard someone say, it's just a gang? That it was a defenseless ship? That your kill didn't matter? That it was easy? I heard it countless times. Let me take you behind the scenes and introduce an undervalued playstyle, where some of the most talented, innovative, creative capsuleers I know actualize themselves. Whaling. I am Olmeca Gold, I am a whaler, and this is my story. It's a story of how EVE landscape was shaped the last 4 years, of the great migrations in EVE ecosystem, and of how EVE Online evolves and our strategies evolve with it. This is a story of late EVE. The first time I played EVE was 2009. I was mostly trying to get in the bigger and better ship. That got me bored in a couple of years. I quit. I made a fresh start in 2014. I remember immediately liking stealth bombers. Watching a few charming videos of Chance Ravine convinced me to dive into wormholes at one. Back in 2009, I didn't like being told what to do. The timers, the post bashes, the CTAs. Hunting was something I could do on my own pace. And for fleets, I found Bomberspar. I evolved into a solo hunter and a fleet commander for Bomberspar. I was taught how to hunt for targets in nullsec for Black Ops fleets. My very first fleet command experience was coalescing with Marshy, who was also new to all this. Meanwhile, I had my first solo fights and the EVE shakes. I progressed from a bomber to a Stratios to a Proteus and finally a Sin. At this time I found videos of Gulnar, the covert hunter mastermind. I didn't know hunting could be this advanced until watching him. He typically hunted DD side runners. Hunting DD runners is like a game of poker, a game of play and counterplay, bluffing, keeping your cool, anticipating your opponent. Except you are always dealt a really bad hand. If the target makes the right move, or the unpredicted move, he survives. Once a neutral appears in local, the target has a few moves. If he warps to a gate or a station, you bubble his path. If he warps to a safe spot and cloaks, you combat scan him and decloak. If he keeps doing the DD side, you try to scare him to warping off to your bubble or send in a Lachesis to tackle. My favorite ones were those who cloak inside the DD site. It is one of the safest things you can do as a target. But there were still tricks in our sleeve.
Our module has run out of charges.
On this particular day, my target is a Widow. My strategy is scaring him to warp off by taking the acceleration gates. I have a Saber bubbling the station path, and I can scan him with my Virtuous at Tengu if he warps to a safe spot and cloaks. I jump in my Sin in the system and begin taking the gates with both ships. Soon enough he disappears from scan results. He did not warp off, so he must be cloaked. I still keep taking the gates. You see, it's very important to bookmark each scan result. In this case, the scan results created a line, giving me the direction of the cloaked ship. If I can precisely follow this line, and if the target didn't change direction, I can decloak and tackle him. After 70 kilometers of burning, and just as I am about to give up, I find them.
Nice.
Eventually, the Deer Runner hunting has become one of the fading playstyles of EVE. More and more targets moved in Null Mega Empire space under extremely safe conditions. Either they opted in for local multiboxing, or they farm under protection of powerful supercap umbrellas. Moreover, in every region carrier ults became more and more common. With buffs carriers have received during the Citadel patch, they began to easily kill Black Ops battleships twice their price. You can easily witness the decline of activity on Z Killboard. Sin is the go-to ship of this method. It used to generate about 3000 kill miles each month, now it generates only 800. So here is to this valuable playstyle falling victim to the late crabification of EVE. Thankfully, some other playstyles thrived under the same crabification. In late 2016, roll-call changes hit the server and they became generic mining ships. Our favorite targets in Bomberspar changed overnight, from carriers worth 2 billion to roll-calls worth 10 billion-esque. Due to panic, potential response, and its tank, killing roll-calls also felt much more rewarding. Back then, we moved our fleets to target regions via a wormhole chain. But it attracted my interest how the wormholes get a lot of kills. I moved in a wormhole with an nullsec static and gave the combination of a Black Ops fleet and wormhole rage rolling a try. I named the doctrine Golden Armada, in salutation to StarCraft. The Armada fleets were beyond successful. They got us many roll call kills and our first Titan kill. Killed by mostly frigates and a few recon cruisers, this FCON Titan is the Titan kill mail with the least amount of mass on it. Armada fleets attracted great interest and carried fleet counts of Bomberspar to up to 150. To this day, it's their favorite fleet doctrine. Unfortunately, hunting in nullsec also meant being disliked by nullsecers. One of the days when I was arguing with the nullsec leader, I unwantedly made Bomberspar fleets a target. This prompted them to ban me from Bomberspar and kick me from my wormhole. But thanks to this move, I began operating solo and experimenting on things outside my comfort zone. I learned to multibox many accounts at once and made new friends. With Inner Hell and Wormhole Outlaw, I avenged the way I was treated by Bomberspar. This is also the period I tried a lot of new things. I moved in with Inner Hell and Outlaws and did non-cloaky rage roll fleets with them. I did my first and only solo AFK Wormhole eviction, which rewarded me with 50 billion of loot and twice the amount of kills. I multibox farmed 100 billion in C5 space and expanded to 10 accounts. Thanks to this farm, I had the assets and the accounts ready to move on to next chapter of my EVE career. Meanwhile, I kept honing my newly acquired multiboxing skills in bombing Bomberspar. The very fleets I used to command became a target of my multiboxed bombing runs. It gave me excitement not because I liked to attack people I used to fly with, but because it took a great deal of expertise to land these bombing runs as a single person. These fleets were my whale now.
Whoop the fleet off.
Well, we can't, we just landed. Everyone jump in one hole when you land. Jump in one hole as soon as you land.
Oh, everyone's gonna die.
Jump the one hole as soon as you land, get out of the bombs. Get out of the bombs.
Yep,
Well
done.
They missed.
Good night!
That was very well
Oh, they
done.
didn't miss.
Wow!
Oh, these bombs kicked my fucking ass, man.
That's Fleet Gonzo.
Meanwhile, things started to change in nullsec. Roll call pilots couldn't rely on local for survival, so they needed a defense plan. The capital umbrella was the best defense plan. It meant having defensive capitals in a central system, ready to instantly provide help to a friendly PV capital. The catch was that it required having the largest regional capital force, or else you risked losing it. Once great competitors in the MER warfare, that is how some drone region alliances died off. Meanwhile, with infinitely spawning fuzzy anomalies, the mega empires of Eve could non-selectively recruit everyone, so it no longer made sense to live outside the mega empire space. Eve has become a graveyard for alliances that once were beacons of whaling content. This meant a lot of refugees from these alliances. The first alliance with a large umbrella who is also willing to invite anybody was bound to be catapulted into supremacy. After World War B, the Northern alliances weren't willing to non-selectively recruit everyone and live in the same space as a bloc. So everyone flocked into the one that was willing, Gunswarm Federation. One Achilles heel of the umbrella regions were dreadnoughts. Pandemic Legion was killing a lot of rorquals in Dell with crowded dreadbombs. But even they stopped working when goons proliferated enough faxes to counter. There was a complete avoidance of Dell. The more we whalers avoided the region, the more people moved in it. Someone had to develop new strategies to circumvent the Supercap umbrella and make these regions a little bit riskier again. Meanwhile, in the beginning of 2018, the Slice CEO Riotric has announced a program. They were paying 10% for each dead gun whale and 100 million ESC for each dead excavator drone. I also heard reports of the Tuskers using command destroyers to push and steal excavators. I already had 7 of my accounts trained in command destroyers for wormhole defense, so I moved in Dell and began killing excavators for profit. I began with pushing them and killing them with Tech 3 cruisers. Then I moved on to bombing them. With a bridging Black Ops and several covered sinos in Dell, I quickly industrialized the bombing at an average of 10 per hour. Imagine killing the value of multiple titans per week in a region, but going unnoticed because these are just mining drones. I killed over 850 excavators and claimed over 100 billion of bounties. But as all good things, the funding has come to an end. This is when I looked into whether I can push and steal excavators myself. The results have been glorious. It all began with me hearing reports about excavators being microjumped by command destroyers and stolen. The underlying mechanic was that once the excavators are pushed 500 plus kilometers away from their rorquals, they can be jammed and scooped. So I decided to give it a try. I created a specifically designed Pontifex pit that is able to fit one drone in the cargo hold of each ship. In a week or so, I developed a strategy that enables a single person to multivac 7 command destroyers and boost the drones reliably. The process begins with a single scanner command destroyer entering the local, scanning the excavators and warping at them. If the rorqual pilot is AFK, or he is too slow to react in 6 seconds, the initial boost lands. As it all takes no more than 30 seconds upon entering local, there are plenty of rorquals not paying attention. The second step is burning back toward the rorqual with the scanner to create a good position for the rest of the fleet to warp. The fleet needs to land between the excavators and the rorqual, and it needs to land 10 to 15 kilometers away from the drones. So I take the gate with my fleet and wait for the right time to warp. If the ships land too close, then they might miss the bush. If they land too far, then they might be locked and fired on by rorquals on grid. Once they land, I use the regroup command on my wing commander and approach to the farthest drone with it. This makes the rest of the fleet to follow the wing commander and align adequately for a good push. Once each ship is under 8 kilometers from the farthest drone, I press the push button. Every chain bush is a sight to see. There is almost an artistic beauty in it. In time, I enhanced this method to spearfish drones from grids with defenders, such as supers or fast-looking ships. Each excavator was used to be valued over 1 billion. In the first month, I stole over 100 excavators. With my newfound riches, I reinvested into more booster accounts and created 63 new command destroyer arcs. This meant that I had command destroyer arcs in every pocket of space in Delft, which meant that I didn't have to worry about getting gate count, and that I was able to be really unpredictable to people chasing me. It's been almost 1 year and I'm almost at 2,000 excavators, which means over 1.5 billion is stolen. Multiple people I taught this method also stole over 1,000 excavators. Together, we tax 2 to 3% of all mining done in Delft. Excavators remain to be the most important Achilles heel of an umbrella region. Bushing is one of the most creative methods to circumvent the supercap umbrella, and I am blessed with having found such an emergent playstyle. I was not only hunting drones in Delft, but also trying to make it less safe in general. Silver Miner is a Russian mining wealth maxer. He mines with 45 machinas, a Guardian Aeon, multiple Rorquals and a freighter. He saves his machinas by chaining panic protection with multiple Rorquals. Apparently, CCP has decided infinite panic must be a thing. Thankfully, he doesn't know my plan. The first step is bubbling his mining fleet and then forcing him to use panic on his Rorqual. This would immobilize his fleet, making it unable to warp, giving me time to initiate the next phase of the plan. In this part, something he can't predict happens. I log in my bushers in system to push his machinas away from the Rorqual. What he doesn't know is you can actually push his Rorquals under the panic protection. The process is something really similar to spearfishing excavators. I land at 110 kilometers from the machinas, align toward them, and begin chain pushing. The chain bush holds and I take machinas with me away from the Rorqual. And then I bubble the machinas and bomb them with my bombers. To my surprise, I do 0 damage. In quick thinking, he manages to sign in a Rorqual between the machinas and the asteroid belt. The Rorqual is able to lock an asteroid and panic to save the fleet one more time. So I need one more chain bush. This time I only managed to bring 24 of them with me. I bubble the machinas again and proceed to bombing. Each machina is worth 800 million. The bombs land and kill 24 machinas, giving me a 20 billion battle report. At different phases of this operation, I had to log in and out 7 bombers, 6 pontifexes, a scanner, a saber, and a black ops. I killed defenseless mining ships, but this was probably my most deserved battle report. When I first came to Delve, I had 10 accounts and 20 billion in pocket. Stealing at an average of 7 billion an hour, I now have 80 accounts and near 2 trillion net worth. Delve is indeed the region of the riches. There is some sense of hilarity if you think about the economics of all this. It all begins with some guy getting yanked in Jita by goons. He then pays Rayotic money to donate to B Control. Then I bomb goon excavators to claim bounty from B Control. With that bounty I buy command destroyers to steal drones. I steal excavators only to list them back in NPC Delve market. Goons buy their excavators back from the market. This money helps me to expand to 63 accounts and buy more pontifexes from goons, eventually to steal even more excavators. I wonder if there are particular drones that I stole multiple times. In the entire process, I lose over 1,000 pontifexes, providing content to goon line members. With 1 trillion of newly made ISK, I inject dreadnoughts pilots. And then I buy hundreds of dreadnoughts from goons in 1DQ market, just to redistribute them to my friends. With these dreads, we kill goon capitals, and lose them to goon line members for even more content. While people owning the killed ships are at a loss, we probably make some goon cap builders really happy. And this is the peculiar complexity of whaling economics. With excavator bushing, I managed to reintroduce some sort of risk factor to the miners of Delve. But there also needed to be a minimal amount of risk for ratting ships, particularly supercapitals and titans. Killing them was the reason why I have injected dreadnoughts. My first ever dreadnought was solo against the Rorqual multiboxer. With a clever usage of sign inhibition mechanics, I managed to prevent him from lighting a sign for help. I killed 4 Rorquals by myself in a region which even crowded organized groups can kill them. Unfortunately, I have failed to record the encounter. Meanwhile, my old friend Marshy has decided to deploy to Delve. In the years I specialized in umbrella regions and excavator bushing, he had been specializing in AFK camping. He began AFK camping in Delve, and despite the fact that I was bombing his fleets months ago, we quickly began to work together. At the end of the day, there is only one war that mattered: the war between the whale and the whaler. My inhibition tactic in combination with his AFK camping began to give us a lot of supercamp kills. The more ships we killed, we attracted more whalers across New Eden to join our cause. At some point it has grown bigger than us. The diversity in some of our kill mails is baffling. You can often see people from Pandemic Legion, Test, Volta, Snuffed Out, Northern Coalition, Fraternity or Bomber Spar working together to get a kill. It feels like we managed to create the antithesis of a nullsec mega empire. A small group of skilled players coming together just to kill ships. No hierarchy, no titles, no corporations or alliances. Minimal structure, no politics, only temporary blows. The point is having fun, and not getting rich. We aren't even the main people hunting for targets anymore. People are contributing in all kinds of ways: hauling, scanning, production, money, hunting, spying. I am nothing but proud to witness how this group has grown. On April 24th, we achieved our first major milestone. the first Titan to die under the Dell Supercap umbrella since almost 2 years. And the pressure will only increase. Despite our efforts, nullsec farming has gotten safer and safer. As whalers, we have experienced it firsthand, but the data was available for those who are willing to collect it. More people moving in umbrella regions meant a smaller ratio of farm converting to kill mails. This led to Plex price increase, proliferation, fading playstyles, and eventually players unsubscribing. Meanwhile, CCP kept nerfing whalers with often hidden, incremental, but significant changes in game design. Thanks to overrepresentation of mega empire interests in CSM, CCP also failed to address the pre-existing issues. I am not saying no good changes happened, but overall the game has become safer. Many recent changes created even more reasons for people to move under an umbrella. And as the game became safer, our opponents cherished it in a race to the bottom. So I decided, I am running for CSM 14. For I think this game doesn't need another CSM to represent the nullsec alliance or coalition. It doesn't need 6 people representing the same mega empire. It doesn't need people buying votes to earn a seat. What it needs is CSMs of a mentality that values creativity over N+1, emergent innovation over the grind, good fights and explosions over asset acquisition and item crates, and game skills over metagame skills. We don't care about your politics, but we are coming for your ship. We are whalers.